have a minute, well, hopefully you have a couple minutes, so I can talk to y'all. Welcome back to the pod, and I guess y'all should be welcoming me back to the pod as well because where have I been? I'm gonna tell you, I have been going through it. And before I even like get into the episode, I want to explain the title of this episode because it's so important and so significant to me. So the title that I have found for this episode is Here's Your Lemons, Make Lemonade. I actually found this title. I was on the phone with one of my friends who I was just like updating about my life and just like the things that were going on in my life. And I said to her, I was like, I feel like life has just been like, here's your lemons, make lemonade. And as soon as I said that, I literally stopped in my tracks. I said, hold up. I need to make this needs to be the title of my next podcast episode. Like maybe like 2 weeks ago, this was like a thing. Um, so I put the title in my notes and I was like, I had an idea of what I wanted to talk about, but like I just kind of kept putting it off because I'm like, oh, like I have this going on in my life and this going on in my life and this going on in my life. And I need to wait until I have everything under control in order to make another episode for the podcast. And life just doesn't work like that. Let's just start here. So I was trying to wait for everything to be perfect. And I'm sorry, y'all. My mom's cat is right here and she is a menace. So if she like jumps up here, y'all hear like little background noise or like y'all like hear me say Lizzie, that's her name. Her name is Lizzie. It's because she's doing the most and she's right here attacking my feet right here. But um to get back to what I was talking about, I just there was a lot going on in my life and I was like putting it off and like I'm gonna be really vulnerable and transparent with y'all. I prayed a lot about this podcast. Me and my boyfriend, we brainstormed, like he has helped me, but like I've prayed a lot about this platform and about like wanting to do this and not knowing how to do it. And like God had placed this on my heart for me to make this podcast. And I'm actually gonna read y'all I'm going to read to y'all what my like intro was for my podcast that I had posted on my page when I had first introduced my podcast because I felt like another reason why I took a hiatus from the pod was because I felt like I was swerving away from what I initially wanted the podcast to be about. So the intro to my pod is Hey, Do You Have a Minute? It's a podcast about navigating the highs and lows of adulthood with a blend of candid advice, personal stories, and faith based reflections. Hosted by Siani Flynn Cook, this show is for anyone seeking real talk about life, relationships, personal growth, and finding purpose in the chaos of your life. Whether you're looking for guidance, inspiration, or just a relatable voice to help you feel less alone, Hey, Do You Have a Minute delivers raw conversations that resonate with today's journeyers. That is what I want the podcast to be about. And I have to literally start here because I started filming already and like I have to say this in the beginning. That is what the podcast is supposed to be about. Me, I wanted my podcast to be like grabbable to everybody, right? If a lot of y'all follow me on TikTok, I post faith content. I talk about my faith. I talk about my religion, my relationship with God. And I have kind of going through things where I was like, oh, I don't know if I'm posting too much about faith-based content because I don't want to scare people off. And I kind of kept having that battle over and over and over again. And I had fasted and I had prayed actually about this because I felt like my podcast was going in a route that was not what initially it was supposed to be. So, anyways, back to what I was saying. I was making lists of people who I wanted to interview and things I wanted to talk about, but it had like a lot of the things that I was making lists about had nothing to do with God. God was not in the middle of it. And this is something that I asked God for. This is something I prayed about. This is something that I really, you know, God gave me the idea. And for me to get the idea and for me to get the platform and then totally exclude God from the message and like use my platform to do what it was supposed to do, what it was intended to do, which was to like praise God and to bring people closer to God. It's like I was tripping. I was tripping. So I had to really like fast and pray about it. And I decided that I'm going to come back on a podcast, but I had to redirect the podcast. I had to. I was scared that I was going to I wanted everybody to be able to watch the podcast and be like, oh, okay, I can take this from this. I can take this from this. And I was like low key scared to talk about faith on here because I'm like, I have friends who are not, I have friends and family who are not the same religion as me, who do not share the same faith as me. And I'm like, I don't want them to close their minds off to my podcast because I'm talking about my faith. But at the end of the day, whoever takes something from it, takes something from it. I can't sit up here and say that, oh, I'm not going to talk about God because I'm scared that people are not going to listen. Whoever needs it is going to listen, no matter what faith they are. Whoever is pulled to listen to it is going to listen to it. And it can't be a one size fits all for everybody in the world. That's like, it just doesn't make any sense. Nothing is for everybody, and that's okay. And that's something that I definitely want to preface and like really say that I have to, and I'm saying it to y'all, but it's really also like I'm also like preaching to myself right now as I'm talking that like I'm not going to be digestible to everybody, but that's okay. Jesus wasn't digestible to everybody. Everybody didn't like him. I literally have it on my home screen. I think it is Galatians 1 verses 10. It says, am I now trying to win the approval of human beings or of God? Am I trying to please people? If I were still trying to please people, I would not be a servant of Christ. I'm a servant of Christ. So I can't be up here trying to please everybody else and trying to make sure that everybody else likes what I'm saying so that they can share my content or that my content can go somewhere. It's okay if this podcast only reaches 100 people every time I post a video and those 100 people are taking a lesson out of it, then I'm very much more grateful than that for my podcast, than for my podcast to reach 1,000 people, but I'm losing the message. So I had to really put it down. Like that's something like so deep on my heart. And I was on the prayer line, and one of the ladies who was talking, she was talking about her journey and what God had called her, where God had called her to be in the kingdom, and basically that it required more of her. But she was saying when God tells you to do something, you don't tell God to wait. You don't tell God, okay, wait until I get here, or wait until this, or wait. No, you have to make time for the things that God tells you to do. Literally, these like there be so much I have notes and notes and notes of things to talk about on the podcast, and I just be like, okay, well, I'm gonna wait till the time is right, or I'm gonna wait until I know how to make this video a little bit digestible. And it's like I don't care if the videos is not digestible. They don't have to be. Everybody doesn't have to digest it. Whoever it is digestible to, they can digest it, period. But okay, so I had to clock that. I had to clock that. I had to clock that. I clocked myself. I'm so glad I said it. Um, yeah. Also, hold up, pause. Wait a minute. I also wanted to read. My this is like my everything book, but it's mostly like when I read my Bible, I be like writing down. I be writing down. I be doing the SOAP method when I read so that I can actually understand what I'm reading. So something that like really I wanted to actually say it on the podcast today is Galatians 1. It says it's Galatians 1 verses 15 to 18, I believe. It says, but when God who set me apart from birth and called me by his grace was pleased to reveal his son in me so that I might preach him among the Gentiles, I did not consult any man, nor did I go up to Jerusalem and see those who were apostles before me. I went immediately to Arabia, and like it's a little bit more, but I had wrote on that and it's so crazy. I need to stop worrying about what other people think about me talking about God and Jesus and preaching the word on my platforms and in my life. He called me to be a servant and to spread the gospel, and I just need to get up and do it. Period. I cocked my own teeth, and I wrote this like maybe like a week or two ago. I've been wrote this, and I clocked my teeth because no, like that's some real stuff. Like as as Christians, followers of Christ, whatever you identify as, I feel like a lot of times like it's low key. I don't want to say embarrassing, but it gets that stigma. Like we can't be bold and proud about our faith. I feel like, and that's just how I feel at the end of the day. That it's just like a lot of people have a lot of opinions about the faith, so it's like you deemed uncool, or you deemed like you get written off or shut off if you start talking about God. And it's like at the end of the day, I don't care who shuts me off. I don't care who writes me off, because I'm gonna keep talking about God. Even if some of my episodes don't got nothing to do with God. And if I start talking about God, it's because God, my life, everything in my life has something to do with God. Any type of advice, any type of whatever I give is going to have something to do with God. That's just period. That's plain blank period. But let's get to the lemonades. Let's get to the lemons. All right, so I'm gonna talk about a couple of the lemons in my life, y'all. So a couple of lemons that were in my life for real was the biggest lemon, my car, my car situation. I don't know if many people know, but I had bought my first car when I was 16 years old. I bought it by myself. I was so happy. And it's been so reliable. It had its problems, but also it was like neglect of care from me. But my car lasted me until I would say November of last year, and then it just finally like died. My car lasted me about 5 years, right? I feel like when you have a car, you can sometimes forget how inconvenient the world is. Like you can really forget that having a car is a major convenience. You don't have to worry about anybody. You don't have to be Ubering and Lyfting, which is like taking your finances away. You don't gotta be catching a bus or being on other people's time, right? So my car finally went. That was like the when I tell y'all, I felt like my life was ending when my car went. I was Ubering and Lyfting to work, and it was just so expensive. It would be like $25. It would be $25 to $40 to work and then back. That's like $50 to $80 a day just to go to work. And I'm a server. Well, now I have another job, but at this time I was a server. So, well, I still am a server. Hold on, I want to say I still am a server. I have two jobs now. I was a server. You don't know. I didn't know if I was making $80 on the morning shift. I mean, more than $80 because that $80 would just be the amount of money that I needed to pay for Uber and Lyft. So for it to be beneficial, I'll have to make like $200 to leave with 120 in order for me to feel okay with making $80 with spending $80 on transportation. That's not always happening. That's literally not always happening. More times than not, it's not happening. It's not. Um. So I felt stuck. Like I felt like I couldn't do anything. I'm a type of person that I like to get up and go. I like to get up and go. When I want to do something, I want to get up and do it now. If I want to drive to Canada, I want to be able to drive to Canada right now. I don't want to have to carpool and figure out like I'm very impatient, and like me not having a car has really actually taught me that I'm a very impatient person. I'm a very impatient person. So, um, you know, that was very hard. So that's a lemon. Another lemon, like I said, was my finances because I was like, ever since I graduated school, which I graduated school in May, I've been applying at jobs for like a big girl job. I've been applying and applying and applying and applying and applying at jobs, no to no avail. I was getting some calls back, but like they were like not the type of jobs that I thought I was applying for. I was praying. I was like writing in my prayer journal. I was like really like going through it. I'm like, I would get up, y'all, and go straight to Indeed. I will wake up in the morning before I even prayed. I really have to. This is my testimony. Before I even prayed, I would get up and check to see if a job from Indeed wrote me back because I was really looking for jobs. Like I was so stressed and worried about finding a job. Like I'm like, I need a job. Like I need a job. When was like maybe for 7 months, actually, for 7 months, I was actively searching for a job. And I'm like, dang. Mind you, I still worked at the restaurant. I worked at the restaurant part time, but I just needed something a little bit more stable because I already knew that I was going to need another car, because my car had problems. But I was like, I can't, with the like income that it shows that I'm making from the restaurant and working part time, I'm not going to get approved for any type of car loan. I'm not going to be able to get a car because it's saying that I'm not making enough money. So I've been like, it's like I need to get a new car, but in order to get a new car, I need to get a new job. And it's like, okay, now y'all see, I want to get my own apartment. In order to get my own apartment, I need to get another job. So like everything is relying on this job right now. So then when the job's just not calling me back, I'm like, oh my gosh, like, oh my goodness, like nobody ever told me it was this hard to get a job. Mind you, I be seeing people on TikTok all the time, like, oh my gosh, like the job market is dead, blah, blah, blah. I'm just like, these people really don't want to work. No, it is actually really hard to get a job. It is really hard to get a job straight out of school. It is really, really hard. Like, it just is. Like, not a lot of jobs. So, I was living off of like that part-time money that I was making from my job. And like, yes, it would be good sometimes, but like other times it was just not enough to pay for the things that I needed. And just lifting an Uber and was just definitely like not helping. Like nothing was helping me. So my finances was another limit. And then I talked about the job situation. The job was another limit. Now I gotta get my own apartment. I'm like, I got all these big things, no job, no nothing, and everything's on a deadline. Like I have deadlines for everything, and I have nothing. So I was worrying and like panicking and stressing like every single day about every single thing. And then to add the podcast on, because I never forgot about the podcast. This is my passion. Like when I tell you this is my passion, like God gave me this, He gave me this idea. He planted the seed, He watered it. Like this is my passion. I love this podcast. So now I'm stressing because I'm like, I can't even drive down to my mom's house to film episodes for my podcast because I don't have a car. So everything, like I'm feeling like my whole world is just crashing down. I had episodes lined up that I had to cancel. Why? Because I don't have a car. I couldn't get down here. Like everything was just like crashing down on me. And then another lemon that just popped up when the whole TikTok ban happened, right? I'm the type of person like I'm impatient and I move quick and I just be like I have like I don't give a F mindset sometimes. So when TikTok got banned that one night, I deleted the app right off my phone. I'm like, oh, you know what? Because I didn't even need to be on TikTok anyway. It was taking up way too much of my time. Just for it to go back on the app store the next day. And I could have downloaded it. I mean, just for like it to go back up and I could have downloaded it because it was taken off the app store. Now, mind you, a lot of my like where I first started talking and where I first got the courage to start talking like motivational stuff, it came from TikTok. It came from me making videos on TikTok, blowing up on TikTok, reaching people, talking to people on TikTok. So now that platform that I have built up and I have this um community and I have these like people who actually love listening to what I say. I don't have it anymore. I can't download TikTok. It's not an app store. So that was like salty. I was definitely I'm not salty anymore. I was definitely salty. Like I'm like, cause my TikToks, I don't have to be here filming my TikToks. I'll be in my car, I'll be walking, I'll be in my room, I'll be anywhere. So I'm like, okay, like boy, like I'm sorry. Like I'm sorry. Um, so yeah. So the progress of like all those limits, because those were my limits. So these are the limits that I felt like life gave me. There's other ones like family situations, just life, relationships, all of that. But like this right here, I felt like was like the biggest limits of my life, right? So now to get to the process of like cleaning the lemons, pulling them, juicing them. Okay, so the process, like I said, I've been searching for a job. I've been searching for houses. I've been searching for cars. Those were like my biggest, the biggest things in my mind. Like if I could categorize like my three biggest problems is in order, job, car, house. My three biggest problems. Um, so I was like I was stressing and I was talking to one of my friends. Oh my gosh. I was talking to Dom actually. The one who I made the episode with, she's a sports media journalist. I was talking to Dom and I was telling Dom everything and like Dom was just telling me like, girlfriend, one thing at a time. One thing at a time. And now now me being where I am right now, I so very appreciate that advice. One thing at a time. I'm an overachiever. I'm somebody who just is always this and then the next and then this and then the next. Like I'm never in the present. I'm always in the future. I'm always okay. I did this. Now I got to do better. I did this. Now what's the next step? What's the next step? I'm always looking at the next step. So when she told me one thing at a time, I'm like, it's hard to just be like, okay, one thing at a time. Okay, bet, yeah, one thing at a time. Like it's hard to like for that to just be it's hard for that to just be the like the mindset. But like through time and like through prayer and through like reading my Bible and talking to God, like one thing at a time for real. Like you can't tackle everything in the world in 1 minute. You have to compartmentalize. You have to understand what's in your reach and what's not in your reach. What can you do right now and what can't you do? And if you can't do it, then you shouldn't be worrying about it. I'm always worrying and having anxiety about things that I cannot physically do right now. I cannot physically change right now. I cannot physically fix right now. So why am I having anxiety? Why am I being so like running like rampant in my mind about things that I have no control over right now? You know? Um, but I definitely would say that like getting closer to God actually has really, really changed my life. When I say this, and I had my relationship with God, I've been saved, um, but like actually like pursuing that relationship with God and like really getting closer to God has really changed my life. Like really. Um Before I got off of TikTok, I had seen somebody had said that when you praying about stuff, pray scriptures. I'm the type of person, I battle with like worry and anxiety so much. It is so crazy. Like so much. Anytime I would start having like anxiety attacks or I'd be worrying, actually I saved it. Let me go to my saved scriptures. Matthew 6:25 verses 24. Therefore I tell you, do not worry about your life, what you will eat or drink, or about your body, what you will wear. Is not life more than food and the body more than clothes? Look at the birds in the air. They do not sow or reap or store away in barns, and yet your heavenly Father feeds them. Are you not much more valuable than they? Can any one of you, by worrying, add a single hour to your life? And why do you worry about clothes? See how the flowers in the field grow? They do not labor or spin. Yet I tell you that not even Solomon in his splendor was dressed like one of these. If that is how God clothes the grass in the field, which is here today and tomorrow thrown in the fire, will he not much more clothe you, you of little faith? So do not worry, saying, what shall we eat? What shall we drink? What shall we wear? For the pagans run after all these things, and your heavenly Father knows that you need them. But seek first his kingdom and his righteousness, and all these things will be given to you as well. Therefore, do not worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will worry about itself. Today has enough trouble on its own. And the emphasis, because I don't pray that whole thing, there's two parts that I emphasize when I pray, and it's the bottom part. Therefore do not worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will worry about itself. Each day has enough trouble of its own. And then I also emphasize, can any one of you, by worrying, add a single hour to your life? And when you really think about that, I'm like, no. Like no, I cannot. I cannot add a single hour to my life by worrying. So why am I sitting up here and worrying about things that I literally have no control over? The things that I be worrying about, if I was to sit on the phone and tell y'all everything that I have worried about in life, y'all would be like, are you okay? Like, are you good? Like, are you good, fam? Like, are you good? Yeah, I just be worrying about stuff that just is not in my control. Um, so, praying those scriptures over myself and really praying to God with my concerns and like really surrendering my concerns and my problems to God has changed my life, because it's like, you know what? Like, you can't worry and pray. You can do one or the other. Because if you're going to worry about something, that means that you're idolizing the problem and the issue. How can you pray about something and you pray that God want to do something for you, but then you still worried about it? That means that you have so little faith that God is actually going to come through and do what you prayed about. So that changed my mindset. Um, and I think that helped the process. So now let's talk about the lemonade. Let's talk about the lemonade that I made, y'all. Um, I applied to two jobs that I really could have saw myself at, right? So one of the jobs, it was like a bank teller or whatever, and I had interviewed for there, and then I had interviewed for my job that I'm at now. So I interviewed for the bank teller job first. I found this job and I applied for it. The job, like the pay and everything, it was I was kind of settling, and I was like the hours I was kind of settling, and it was like I would be jumping around from branch to branch. I was kind of settling with everything, but something that kind of like in the back of my mind in the interview process, I would have had to go to Philly for 2 weeks straight to train. Mind you, I don't have a car. So I'm like, yeah, that'll work for me just because I wanted a job. But like in the back of my mind, I'm like, that is not going to work for me at all. How am I going to get to Philly for 2 weeks straight to train for this job? And I don't have a car. But I just wanted the job so bad that I'm like, I just need a job. Like I'm going to make it happen. Like I'm just going to make it happen. So I interviewed there. They told me they would get back to me. Boom. Out of nowhere, y'all. When I tell y'all out of nowhere, it was only God. This company calls me. They said they see my resume. I don't know where they see my resume at. Called me, presented me this job. I'm like, okay, like yeah, the job seems pretty nice, blah blah blah. Like the pay was actually like the pay was more than the bank teller job that I had applied for. And when they were telling me about like everything with the job, I was like, I need that. I want that. I gotta have that. I was like, yo, I need this job. Um, so I had interviewed for the job. So it was like maybe like a week went by. I interviewed for the job. I interviewed for the job on maybe Tuesday or Wednesday. Boom! On Thursday, the bank job gets back to me. They want to offer me the job. They want to offer me the job. Mind you, I just interviewed for this job with better benefits, better it's close to it's 10 minutes away from my house. So it's close. Like if I had to lift, I had to catch a bus, if I had anything, it is close. Um I'm like, so at first I'm like to the lady like, oh, can I she offered me the job, and I was like, how long does this offer stand? And basically I think she told me the offer stood until, or I think she may have offered me the job on Wednesday. She told me that the offer stood until Friday, and I think I interviewed for the job on Tuesday, and they had told me that they would get back to me by Thursday if I got the job. So I'm like, what to do, what to do, what to do. Like I'm like so like what to do? What should I do? I'm thinking and I'm thinking and I'm thinking, and then I'm like getting anxious because I'm like the job hasn't offered me yet. Like the job that I actually wanted to apply for hasn't offered me yet. And I'm like, I'm scared to not get back to the banking job, and then this job doesn't offer me, and then now I have no offers. So I'm thinking and I'm praying about it, and I'm just like, you know what? No. So I accepted the banking job, right? Just because I was like the job never got back to me. And after I accepted it, I had actually went back and I reneged my acceptance. And I was just like, sorry, like basically I just sent the email like that. It just wasn't work. It's not beneficial and it's not going to work out for me. After I sent that email, guess what happened, y'all? The company told me that, they filled the position. They filled the position and they hired somebody who was more qualified than me. They loved me. They loved my interview, but they hired someone who was more qualified than me. I mean, who had more experience than me in that position. So at first, I'm like, dang, I should have took the maker job. I'm like, dang, I'm sorry. But the more I was just sitting up there thinking about it, I'm like, my mom had actually said one thing to me, which was that if you accept what's not for you, then how will you ever get what is for you? And that's something that really like played in the back of my mind. Like I'm praying to God for like this opportunity and this specific thing. And like, okay, yes, maybe this job didn't get back to me. Yes, maybe I didn't get the job here. I can't accept the job that I know is not good for me. I can't accept the job that is really not going to help me, and I'm probably going to end up it's probably going to end up worse I'm going to end up in a worse position because it just doesn't make sense for me. So I'm like, you know what? It's cool. Like I'm sorry that I don't got any offers on the table, but it's cool. I'm just going to go back to square one. Y'all, 2 days later, the job called me back. They said that they was gonna have, okay, wait, no, pause. When he first told me that they had hired someone above me or over me, he had said that they were gonna be interviewing again in February, and they would love to have me come on and consider me for like positions that open up in February. So I'm like, okay, you know what? Like that's cool. I'm like, you know what? Cool. I started grinding at my job. I told you I work part time at the restaurant. I started picking up all these shifts at the restaurant. I started working like every single day at the restaurant because I'm like, I'm waiting for a job to open up for me. No, I need to make openings. Like I'm not making enough money, and I'm not going to get approved for loans because I'm not making enough money. I'm just going to start working more at the restaurant. So if they're not going to approve me, I'm gonna just have more cash to put down for a down payment. So now my mindset shifts instead of being like, oh, I just need a new job, and because I can't get a new job, I can't get a new car. To no, I'm not about to be a victim. Like I'm not about to just stay in this victim mindset. Like I'm about to actually, I'm going to change my life. Like I'm not going to wait for nobody else to change it for me. Like the job that I have right now, I'm gonna make it work. My boyfriend's dad, I was telling him how I was Ubering to work all the time, and he was like, "Y'all young kids too good for the bus." And I was like, and mind you, I thought about getting on the bus, but I'm like, I don't want to get on the bus. Like, I don't want to go from being on my having a car to driving to wherever to now I gotta walk to the bus stop, be at the transportation center, get on the bus. Like, I don't want to get on the bus. Like, I don't, why would I want to get on the bus? Why do I want to go backwards? I used to get on the bus all the time when I was younger. When I had my first job, I used to get on the bus faithfully. And I'm like, I don't want to get back on the bus. Like I just feel like a loser. Like I just feel like I'm just reverting back and just going back. Not saying that anybody who gets on the bus is a loser, not saying that, but like just in my mindset at that time, I'm just like, I used to do this when I was 14. Why do I want to get on the bus again? Like I used to not like get on the bus at 14. I don't want to get on the bus at 21, even though I'm still super young to be getting on the bus. Um, but my boyfriend's dad was basically saying that to me. He was like y'all be spending all this money on Ubers and Lyfts. Why not get on the bus? Mind you, there's a bus stop right outside my house, right? There's a bus stop that's right outside my house that will take me to the transportation center. And then in front of my job, there's a bus that will drop me off right in front of my job. So there's two buses that are super convenient for me to get on to go to work. So I'm looking at my finances and I'm like, I can't afford to keep Ubering and Lyfting everywhere. So I'm like, all right, you know what? I'm gonna listen to my boyfriend dad. I'm gonna start getting on the bus. I start getting on the bus. It's not that bad. This is to anybody who don't have a car and who be Uber and Lyft everywhere. Check the bus schedules first. It is not that bad. It is not that bad. When you driving and everything, you don't really get to slow down and experience life. Like me walking to the transportation center, or like sometimes I'll be walking, like because I don't have a car, I'll be just walking places. Like I'll take a 15-minute walk. Right now, y'all probably heard that and y'all be like, that's a hike. What you mean a 15-minute walk? When you really start walking, a 15-minute walk is nothing. You got your AirPods in, it is nothing. I first I didn't want to walk because I'm like, I don't want nobody seeing me. I don't want nobody riding past me and like that's Siani walking, like that's Siani walking. But then I'm like, why do I care about these people who not in my circumstance and don't know what I'm going through? Why do I care if they see me walking? Like, okay, like, yes, I'm walking. If you don't have a car, what you gonna be doing? You gonna be walking. Like, it's not that deep. I need to get from point A to point B. I can't be worrying about and trying to be bougie and trying to lift and Uber everywhere, and I can't even really afford it. And that's the problem. People can't afford things and do it just for the looks. No, I'm like, you know what? Let me get this daily dose of exercise. Let me be out in the sun. Let me walk. Let me look around. When you actually like not driving and you on the bus or you walking, you get to actually see what's going on around you. I'm on a bus like, oh, I did not know it was a restaurant right there. Like I'm just on the bus, like actually just looking around and being more aware of my surroundings. So I'm actually like really happy that I got that experience, right? Because it's like I'm seeing that everything is accessible with the bus. Everything. Like literally everything. You can go anywhere from the buses. Like, yeah, you may have to walk a little bit, but like there's a bus stop almost anywhere that you need to go. You can get to any place with getting on a bus. $2.50. $2.50 versus, so maybe, and also I think that I actually cracked the code where if you get on two buses in less than an hour, you only get charged for one ride. So for me to get on the two buses to go to work and then to get on the two buses to come home, I'm only getting charged $5 instead of 10. So now I'm paying $5 to get to work instead of $50, $80. That is a drastic difference. That is making me, if I only make $50 at work, okay, I spent $5 to get here. It is such a complete difference. It's such a complete like mindset change when you just like I don't even know. Like, I don't even know how to explain it. I just feel like my mindset and just like I have grown and changed so much as a person because of the experiences that I have been going through. And that's actually something that I wrote down, that there's a lesson to be learned in everything that you go through. Any type of hardship, any type of pain, any type of whatever you're going through, there is always a lesson to be learned. You can't always just be like, oh, why is this happening to me? You got to actually look at the lesson and figure out what is going on, what is to be learned, what can you take from this, what can you apply and make to make your life better. And that's what I've been doing a lot lately. So now to get back, I had went on this whole rampage, but to get back to the job situation, so they told me that they wanted to consider me for February. Okay, 2 days later they called me back, they offered me the job for me to start the next week, y'all. I could have been like, oh no, like I'm not about to take the job. Like y'all pick somebody over me now. I'm just your second choice. What? No, I did not say that. I said, oh yeah, thank you. I was praying about that. I'm like, thank you, God. Like, thank you for coming through for me. Like, thank you. So the job, mind y'all, is so chill. Like it is like the perfect first time job for me. Like when I tell y'all, like this job just makes so much sense for me as a like who I am. First of all, the dress code is casual. I'm wearing hoodies and tights to work. That's all I wear any day, anyways. Because I was like, oh, I gotta go to the thrift store. I gotta go get some dress pants. I gotta go get button up shirts. Like I gotta like no, when I went to my interview, the my manager who interviewed me had a hoodie on, tights, and dunks. I said, I'm sitting up there with my slacks, my blazer. I got my like glasses on because I got these like interview glasses. I got my glasses on. Like I'm trying to sit up there so proper. She's just chilling her hair, just like she's just chilling. They was like, when they told me that the dress code was like casual, I'm like, oh, I had said to her, I was like, oh, good, because I have much business clothes anyway. I was like, I gotta go shopping for some business clothes. But no, like the dress code is mad casual. It's like mostly a communications job, and I'm a people person. I like talking to people anyway, so I'm talking to people. Like I said, it's 10 minutes away from my house, and I'm in person for 3 days, and I'm at home for 2 days. I'm hybrid. I'm like, can this job get any better? Like, can this job get any better, y'all? Mind you, and I did not pray for anything job specific, but all the other jobs that I was applying for, like there were floater positions. I would have had to been going to this place and to this place and to this place. My job is stable. I'm at two places. I'm there and I'm home. So I'm waking up 2 days out the week. I can wake up and roll over out of my bed and just hop on my laptop if I wanted to. I'm not saying that I do that, but I'm saying I can wake up and not wash my face and not brush my teeth and hop on my laptop if I wanted to. I don't do that, just to preface. But I'm just saying it is so convenient. It is so convenient, and I'm so happy about that because my life has been so inconvenient, and I've just been thugging it out. Like I'm just like, you know what, like whatever life is throwing at me, I'm just going to thug it out. I'm not going to be a victim to life. Like either you're going to be in fight or flight mode, and I'm going to be in fight mode. Like I'm going to keep pushing. I'm going to keep going. If I want something in life, I got to work towards that. I'm not about to sit up here and wait for everything to be handed to me. And because I didn't wait for everything to be handed to me, I got blessed with so many things, y'all. Like blessed with so many things. I have a better job now. I can apply for a bigger car loan because now I'm not just making part-time money at my job. Mind y'all, I'm still working at my job. I'm not gonna quit my job. I'm not getting comfortable in life because I told y'all I got all these lemons that need to get annihilated. So I gotta work hard. Yes, I'm not gonna lie. It is hard working every day. It is so hard. I've never worked every day in my life. I work Monday through Friday at my regular job, and then at my server job, I work Saturday and Sunday. I work every single day. I'm busy, but it's okay. I don't do well with having spare time. Like I don't do well with just sitting around. And with I was just sitting around. I was just on my butt. Like I said, I was working at my restaurant job 3 days out the week. For those other 4 days, I was just like having time to feel sorry for myself. No. When I started picking up more shifts at work, when I tell y'all, when shifts would go up at work, I was picking up shifts so much at work. It's a running joke at my job. Everybody be like, "Oh, I didn't even know you still worked here," because I only worked 3 days a week. I was picking up so many shifts. People was come like everybody, my management, my coworkers. They was like, "I've never seen Siani work so much." I'm like, I'm grinding. I'm grinding. Like I gotta hustle. Like I'm grinding. I had to prioritize. And I'm still prioritizing buying groceries instead of going out to eat, or maybe turning down going out places right now, because right now I'm in a state of elevation. Like right now I'm in a state of like grind and hustle. Like I gotta really prioritize things in my life right now to get to where I need to be at right now. I feel like, did I cover everything? Like I feel like I just was like rambling. Um and also, actually, I wanted to say this too, is finding confidence in myself. Like everything that I'm talking about right now, this is the lemonade. This is the lemonade. All the good stuff, the this like the champ story right now. This is the lemonade, y'all. I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna tell y'all, oh yeah, yeah, I got my car, y'all, I got my apartment, but right now, like this is the lemonade in my life right now. And something that has been really beneficial is me just finding that confidence in myself, like I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. I don't even know what scripture that was. That just came to my head, but like I can do everything. Like I can do everything, especially I when with God as my foundation. I be trying to like, and I had actually wrote this down, that I'd be praying and I'd be like, oh God, give me something, please. And like I try to take the sketch and then the blueprint that he gives me, and then I just like start like doing my own thing. And it's like, no, like really not trying to like overly control everything in my life, and just like really like praying and letting God move in my life how he gonna move in my life at the end of the day. Like I'm not all knowing. I don't know everything. I don't know what my next step is. I don't know what he got for me. But I know that it's greatness. And I know that as long as I'm following where he got for me, that it's gonna be greatness. So you know, I would just say that to encourage anybody who's going through hard times right now, because like I've been going through hard times for a little minute now. Like and like life is actually really finally starting to look up for me. And I'm really appreciative of it, because I've been at some low points this past year. I've been at lows, like, and I'm finally feeling like, okay, you know what? Like my life started getting better, and it's because I started actively trying to make it better. It's no magic genie. Nobody's coming to save the day. You gotta save the day. You got to I had to put my big girl panties on and start moving differently and start doing differently and moving smarter for the goals that I have. You can't just dream about stuff and not have any plan of action, because then it's just a dream. If you no backtrack, you can't have goals without any plan of action, because then it's just a dream. It's not a goal. You're not going to hit it when you don't got no plan of action. I had to make a plan of action. I'm on a strict budgeting. Like I'm like, when I tell y'all I've never budgeted in life, for the past 2 months I budget everything. Any expenses, any income that I'm bringing, I'm budgeting my assets and my debts. Like I'm really budgeting, because I need to be financially smart with my money. I need to know where my money's going. I need to know where my money's coming from. I need to figure out the spending habits that I got that can be exited out. When I first started budgeting, y'all, the first week when I looked at how much money, hold up, I think I could probably tell y'all right now. The first week when I looked at how much money I was spending on out to eat, it was insane. Like when I tell y'all it was so insane, I was like, oh what? I be spending that money on food. I be spending that much money on food. Like I'm such a big bag. Like that's literally what I was thinking. Let me actually go, and one day, on the first day of me budgeting, I spent $264. Mind you, I probably didn't even have $264 in my bank account. How did I spend $264 in one day on January 1st? On January 1st. I said, oh, okay. I said, oh, okay. We're gonna get this straightened out. We're gonna get this straightened out. Um, but yeah, I just wanted to encourage anybody who's like going through hard times, and feeling like they in the same cycles and that they can't break free of the cycles. You gotta break free of them. Don't say that you putting your trust in God, you putting your faith in God, but you're not praying and you're not reading your Bible, and then you blaming God for not answering your prayers, but you're not really actively seeking him, and you're not doing your part. Like, you got to do your part. It's not just going to be, like I keep saying, genie in the bottle. It's not make a wish and it come true. Like, you actually got to do your part to make your life better as well, and not blame everybody else. And that's also something that I had shifted in my mentality, is like blame shifting. Like, you can't blame nobody else for how your life is turning out or how your life is. It doesn't matter what part anybody played in how your life is. You can't solely just put the blame on other people and say, oh, my life is like this because of this person. Because, okay, and then what? And then what? Your life is like this because of them, and then what? What you expected them to fix it? They not gonna fix it. You gotta fix it. You gotta change it. You gotta want more for yourself and be more for yourself. So, I'm very happy that I came out and that I filmed this episode. It is Super Bowl Sunday. I'm sitting here filming this episode, but I definitely felt like everything that I'm saying, it needed to get out. I needed to release this. I needed to say this. And I just thank y'all so much for staying through and watching the whole episode. And if something touched you, comment it down below. If I said something that related to you, comment it down below. Share this video to somebody who may be going through tough times or may really need some words of encouragement, because, like, this is real. Like, this is my real life right here. Like, you know um and I just appreciate y'all for supporting me and for being here with me through the trials and tribulations, and giving me this platform for me to come on here and talk about my life and talk about the things I'm going through and talk about God. I thank y'all for that so much. So thank y'all so much. Have a good one.